Hello. Welcome to the party.
Hello.
Heather and I both doing the same thing.
It's true.
In the group chat, it's fine.
Hello. Welcome. Hi.
Hello.
So, we're going to give this a few minutes so that some people have time to kind of drop in before we start discussions. So let's talk about what we're currently reading for the readathon. I am currently reading Leopard's Hunt by Christine Feehan. I'm about...
You really have shuffled books.
I really have. Like, I chose 12
different
different things today.
Okay.
It's insane. So I'm about 110 pages in, and I'm very committed. I'm really enjoying it. This is the most recent Leopard book, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
There might be one more after this. I don't remember, but it's the most recent one I haven't read. So there we go.
Nice.
All right. Izzy, what are you currently reading?
I just finished the third book in the Mate Mountain series by Lola Glass, which are very just like readable, silly, not novellas, but kind of novellas. They're all under 300 pages. All the audios are like under 6. They're novellas, but I guess they're not technically. I finished those, and then I'm reading Witch Trapment by M.L. Bash. Dive into the newest season.
Hi, I'm here. I didn't forget. I promise. I was just in my car.
You're good.
You're here.
I saw that for a second, and it said 2, and I thought it said 2 hours, and I'm like, wait, how late am I?
No.
2 minutes. You're good.
2 minutes. You're good.
Okay.
All right, Heather, how about you?
I am theoretically reading The Crownless King by Drew Anderson. I marked it as currently reading this morning and haven't read it. I did spend time on TikTok, so that's exciting for me. But I have every intention of hopefully starting it tonight because that's the next book after One Night, One Bite, and I have been waiting for it since One Night, One Bite came out, so I really want to read it about the King of the Vampires.
Nice. All right, Steph, what are you currently reading?
Nothing, because it's the middle of the day, so I haven't started anything since last night. I
Fair
will
enough.
probably read. So last night I finished Under the Lupine Moon by A. Knightley, and I discovered there is a Halloween novella that follows after it. So I will probably read that.
Yeah, that's timely.
Later today.
For sure. All right, Megan, what are you reading?
I am trying to finish Her Soul to Take, which it's like a popcorn read, but like if the popcorn was sold at Hot Topic.
And her demon boyfriend.
Because he's like, oh, I'm so edgy, flipping off people, and I'm like, oh
edgy dude lord.
They're all edgy. They're all like edgelords, and I'm like,
It's the best part is every time he tells her to stay in the house, and she does not listen.
That is great. I love how he's like, she has zero sense of self-preservation, and then she is like, ugh, and then immediately does something that proves his point, and then she thinks, yeah, I really don't have any self-preservation. That was a bad move. I'm like, at least you admit it, I guess.
For sure.
It was very fun.
It's entertaining. It's entertaining enough that I was like, I might continue with the next one, but it's not like quality, but it is fun.
It's entertaining quality. That's its own thing.
Yeah.
There's different levels of fun time happening, you know?
Yeah.
There's
like
a 2-star, this was terrible, and I couldn't stop. And then there's like 4 or 5-star, this was
fucking wrong
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this one's just ridiculous because it's so edgy for the sake of trying to be edgy. So it's
and
like
that's just a mood in and of itself.
it is. And so I was like, oh, this is like, oh, I'm so edgy, meh, sticks out tongue at everyone. And I was like, you know what?
Mm.
We'll go with it. It got me through like a day of work, so
I mean, sometimes that's all you need is something to get you through the day.
exactly. And then I totally did not try to speed read our group read, but I did finish it.
All right. Speaking of here, let's give our general feelings and star ratings for the Tenant. Let's keep the spoilers out of this one. We'll have a spoiler section. Some people in the comments have already mentioned that they haven't read it. So we'll start spoiler free. Izzy, you go first. Oh, you're having sound issues. Let's see.
Sorry. Microphone issue where it keeps changing. Me and StreamYard are fixing to fight. So it's gonna happen one day. I'm just throw StreamYard in the dirt. I think this is like a 3.5 for me. I only was able to finish it because I had Alexa read it to me. That was the only reason. It's a little too rambly for my brain to like follow. And I literally tried to read chapter 1 and could not do it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess Alexa's reading it to me. Because it just felt so different than a lot of other Katrina Jacksons. And I just read, doesn't help, I just read the Hitman.
Oh, yeah.
And I really loved it. And this feels so very different, even though it came out not that far apart from each other. Also, I lived near the town that this is happening in, and I was like, this town is not that small. Actually. Like, it's the next biggest town next to a military base. It's not, like, there's an airport. It's not that small. They literally have an airport. No, it's not a big airport.
Act like there were, like, maybe 100 people in that town.
But that's what and that bugged me because I was like, I spent 3+ years, 40+ minutes outside of Alexandria, Louisiana, and let me tell you, like, there's that is history there, obviously. But I was like, there's definitely like more than 100 people here. So I don't know. So it was interesting. Like, I didn't hate it. I definitely just don't think it stood as like as much of a paranormal ghost romance as I wanted it to.
Heather, your turn.
I give it 3 stars. I really liked the historical part of the story. I really liked, honestly, everything that she did with that. I thought that was really well done and really interesting. But I wasn't super into the ghost romance part, which is obviously why I picked it up. So I'm really glad that I read it for the readathon. It wasn't even on my TBR until we picked it. So I'm really glad that this had me read it, but it's not one of my favorites from her, although I really like what she did with the history.
I'm a bit the same. I found the first half really hard to get through, not because I didn't like the history, but because I wasn't prepared for it. If I'd known that that's what it was, I would have started in a different headspace, and I probably would have picked a different time of week to read it as well. The ghost romance stuff, when we talk about it later, like some of it felt really good, some of it I felt just jarring to the first 3/4 of the book. So it was interesting. Like not a bad book by any stretch. Probably a 3-star read, but yeah, just I wasn't. This is why I need to read synopsis of books all this week. This has been all my comments. I need to read things about these books before I pick them up.
I never do, and it sometimes
I never
it's fine. Sometimes it's not. It's
No, I never do, and sometimes it comes to bite me. So, but yeah, I'm glad I read it.
I'm also probably sitting at like a 3.5. It was easy to have Alexa get through it for me. And if I had to read it by myself, I don't know if I would have gotten through it. I would have been like, hey, besties, I didn't finish. I love you. But Alexa helped me out. And there were some good like one-liners from the dude, which made me laugh, which I think is giving it that 1/2 star because it was interesting concept. I did like the history aspects. If I had come in knowing it was going to be a history fiction. But yeah, so I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't my favorite thing I've read this week, but I've definitely read worse books.
Yeah, I think this ultimately boils down to it's not a paranormal romance. It's a historical fiction with a romantic element to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had known that was truly the pitch that we were getting, I probably would have given it like a 4-star. Like, it's still well written for what it is, but when you're expecting a paranormal ghost romance and you get historical fiction with a romance subplot, you're just expecting two very different stories. So I don't think what she did was bad or wrong. I just think that I went in with the wrong expectations. So as a historical fiction, I would give it a 4-star. As a paranormal romance, I would give it a 2-star. So I'm landing in the middle at a 3, ultimately. So Heather kind of started on this route. So what did this book do right for you? We'll have you start the conversation. We'll go around again.
I think the historical elements were well done, and like discussions around that. I liked the reveals. I thought that was well done. It was that thing where it did need to be edited down just like a smidge almost to feel a little snappier in pacing. But I did think the reveals about like why Ruby had the house was interesting. Because I wasn't sure where that was going. So I think that was well done because I didn't have a guess really the whole book. And I thought the possession ghost sex thing was interesting. I was like, that's fun. That's not normally what we get for ghost sex where like the ghost lays in another body. So I thought that was interesting.
So I liked that he was finding out about all of the history and how his family was tied into it, and the connection. I really liked that he cared and appreciated the history of the home and of the neighborhood and the plantation and the enslaved people and the way that his family might have wronged her or any of that. I thought all of the historical stuff was really, really interesting because I'm a firm believer that no matter what horrors of slavery you discuss, you're never going to actually be covering all of it, right? So you can go, as awful as you can possibly think of, and there's still going to be more. And I think that she had a good balance of that's not quite what we're doing. We're not trying to mention the worst things that have happened, but like not screwing around some of the really horrible things that were happening to them, even after they were freed, in this family specifically, even after they were freed, right? And I liked even the tie-in with the white people that were gentrifying the neighborhood, currently modern day, and then the kind of descendants of the families that had been there that really still cared about that legacy and cared about who was moving into these houses and what they were doing with it. So I really, really liked all of that. There was nothing about the romance that I liked. So I liked everything that was the historical account. I honestly probably would have liked it better if this was just, him as their descendant finding out and restoring the house and kind of falling into this history that he didn't know anything about. That's what I liked.
I actually think I probably would have enjoyed this more just as a historical kind of story, which is weird for me to say because I don't like historical stories. I don't generally reach for them. Because it was really interesting as someone who kind of my knowledge of American history and everything that's happened over time, particularly in specific states, is based on what has come up in other books that I've read and things like that. So like it's all that is really interesting to sort of read and unpack. I think that was probably, even though it felt dense and was a little bit difficult for me to get through at that point in the week, it was the part that I was most interested in. And it felt the most put together in terms, like, you can tell that Katrina Jackson knows her stuff, like, and she's done a lot of research and put all that into a story and has tried to weave everything together. And that was the part that I really liked.
I did like that the gentrification versus revitalization thing, where they're like, no, we're revitalizing, and then he's just like, no, bro. But also
No,
that
dude,
the people, yeah, but also like the people who were like fixing up the neighborhood, it wasn't just rich white people, it was just like rich oblivious people, because the main guy was black. I know, because he said this Carlton ass looking dude, which made me laugh.
Yeah, Todd.
Todd.
The most like generic dude bro name ever, Todd.
Yeah. And then the one whose house they were at. Oh, by the way, Nina's the MVP of this entire book, hands down. But Juan was another one, and then I think there was like a white woman named Lauren. So it was quite literally like the spectrum of people.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was like an interesting kind of way of showing that it's like, no, it's not just rich white people. It's just like rich people who like are just completely above it all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that was handled really well. I think the thing she did really well with that was unexpected to me is that our ghost heroine ended up being queer on top of everything else. And I really liked that addition. It wasn't necessary or needed, but I think it added a really interesting element as to how things ended up the way they did in the end. We'll talk about that in the spoiler part coming up soon.
Kitty.
But yes, we have a white song who came to play.
Jackson, because she's queer, she writes queer characters regardless of whether it's necessary or not.
Which I really love. That's part of what I love about Katrina Jackson's books is that, you know, even in a historical setting, she's going to find a way to put it in there. Or they are. I forget their pronouns.
Right, because I think as a historian, as a queer historian and a Black historian, all that stuff, it's important to remind people that queer Black people existed throughout history.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, agreed.
Mm-hmm. And again, like everybody else has said, I think the historical elements she really shined, but I just think this was marketed wrong for me, at least, you know, going into it as a paranormal romance. So the other thing, like, what did this book do wrong? Like, why didn't we all love it? And I think we've all kind of alluded to a lot of that, is just that our expectations were different going in. I do think this book could have been trimmed and edited a bit more, because it, as Izzy said earlier, it did get a bit rambly at points, where I think if we'd trimmed that down a little bit, I think the book overall would have been a little more concise and a little more enjoyable. Or if they'd taken the time to fully like flush it out further and make it a true like historical fiction with some romantic elements to it and gave the more details and stuff, it needed to do one or the other for me. For it to truly like be a 5-star book. So I think those would be my biggest, like, what did this book do wrong things. Does anybody have any others that we haven't talked about?
I just think that first chapter needed to be a little less like rambly. I know we're getting like the feeling for Noel's like, you know, place in life and stuff, but it just felt very like, well, I'm going to do this and that. Like, I felt like I was in my own brain for a moment with ADHD. And I was like, okay, I could have used like slight condensing of like that section of just like trying to figure out stuff. And I think more flashbacks with Ruby. So would have helped like earlier on.
Yeah, like, I guess the other thing would have been like he should have been able to see her sooner.
Yeah, and seeing her sooner, that would have been really
I think that would have done a lot for,
because it was like 60+% in that he finally saw her.
Mm-hmm.
So I did so long just for him to get into the house.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like 25 or 30% before he was even in the house.
Yeah, because I think the setup was part of it. I think I agree. The first half of the book was kind of slow and difficult to get through. Although I really loved the scene where he did end up seeing her. That was hilarious.
Oh, it was
Since-
absolutely
so well
hilarious.
Oh yeah, and the contractor was like, "Oh hell no, bye guy."
Right, exactly.
He's out, buddy. I'm out.
But I didn't like the romance at all. I didn't like the sex scenes. I didn't like any of it. None of it worked for me. I was icked out more than anything else.
I loved in like a this is kind of funny when thinking about it way how fast Nina was down to clown.
I was like, what are you talking about? How did she get into this? And how did she
Nina was like, yeah, absolutely, I'm down. Yeah, that was the thing. Like, there was no like discussion before, like to tell us that like Ruby and him had the discussion. Like, there was it was just like, hey.
Yeah, she was just like, hey, I'm here to see the house. And they were just like, hey, so it is haunted. Here's a ghost. Want to do it?
Yeah.
And she's like, okay. And I'm like, wait, whoa, what?
I think that speaks to the pacing issue, which is this needed to be cut and things reorganized for it to pace better in terms of how we meet the characters, how the story moves forward. And I like I said, I could probably have taken the romance out of this. I think this would be a really good light horror haunted house novel, and you could have all the same characters and develop it, because I had no idea who the love interest was going to be. I didn't know whether it was going to be the ghost, whether it was going to be Nina. Like, I couldn't tell what was going. And for something that's supposed, even if the romance is not the central plot of the story, it is a plot of the story. So you need to know what you're expecting, because this isn't a 300-page book where you're going to have time to flesh that out. You need to have the pacing to organize that information.
Also,
go.
I was gonna say, also, why was everyone rude? Like, I feel like it never actually gave an explanation as to why everyone was rude to the kid or to the man, Noel. That's his name. Like, they were never like, we're rude to Noel because we hate the Delisles. It was just like, no, we're just dicks. And I'm like, why? Like, to what end?
We hold grudges against people we've never met.
Yeah, I mean, it was literally like family name grudges, which is very small town, which again, as someone who's lived there or near there, that is not the small town in the region. Like, that was where that was the big city we would go to. So like, I was just like, this is so strange.
I didn't feel like it was small town at all. I felt like it was the historical, city planning department and Black people. Like, I felt like it was like the interwoven, what word do I want? Community. And that's why it felt more like we know who you're talking about and stuff. Yeah. But I felt like if it was a really small town, then you wouldn't necessarily be dealing with gentrifying, right?
Yeah, I guess that's true. I just think the vibe of it at times felt like it was like the small town trying to like revitalize in a way.
Yeah, I felt like it was like a suburb.
I still didn't understand why like everyone was rude to him even before they knew who he was. Like, they were just rude.
How dare an outsider come to town, which made it sound like 50 people live there. No.
But I'm like, the only people who are being nice to this guy are the ones who want to gentrify, which is a bad look. He's the one that's like saving the house. Like, he's making sure that they don't take the house from like the historical center. You'd think that they'd be at least a little nicer to this guy. So I was like, why are they just being rude to be rude? Like, the waitress was rude to be rude.
I didn't care about that because to me, that is a rom-com type of setup, right? Like, the main character of a rom-com is constantly getting into ridiculous situations. And it's like, why are we doing this? Why are people interacting in this way? So that didn't bother me. What really bothered me was Nina being like, yeah, you can fuck the ghost through me. And also at the same time, he's only interested in the ghost. Like, that's where we ended up. Like, I'm in love with the ghost. Yeah, we can do this anytime. What are we talking about?
I did love Nina. Her presentation to the historical society was like, this used to be a plantation. Let's talk about it.
No, I liked her as a character.
deeply uncomfy, and this guy was just like, yes, thank you.
Yeah, I liked her as a character. I liked her as a historian. When we suddenly fell into bed, I was confused.
I was also confused. It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was very much an out of left field thing that got thrown in there for me, and I was like, okay.
All right, sure.
Like, is this just gonna be like a weird, like, forever threesome now? Or like he'll marry Nina technically, but like it's really rude. Like, I don't know, man. It was weird.
All of the above are possible.
It was weird.
So yeah, any other spoilery things we want to discuss?
That was just a weird book. Like, especially with all the Katrina Jacksons I've read. I was just like, this is so strange.
It feels very out of character for the stuff I've read from her.
Yeah. Also,
Robin liked it.
Yeah. Ruby's death was also very jarring because I also feel like it came out of nowhere. Like, obviously it was going to happen. She is a ghost.
I mean, I felt like the lead up for that wasn't so bad. Like, I kind of, granted, I read probably more historical fiction than anybody in this chat. So I kind of got the beats in that element of it. Like, that all lined up okay for me. Like, it wasn't too out of left field, but yeah.
I'm glad that she swindled that house from that man.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, right? And I love that she immediately wanted it to go to this woman that she was in love with. Like, that just made my heart so happy. She's like, this house should have gone to this person, and it's who it ended up being, like, that has the house. So I still loved it for that, but yeah.
Just like that whole section was just like it was, the reveal for that was rushed. Like, that's
oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because that's a real, like, you pull that thread, that's a really cool story to tell.
Absolutely.
In terms of a ghost story and how something comes.
I think ultimately that's probably what this book comes down to, is that she was trying to pull on so many threads that they kind of all got tangled together in a weird way.
And going back to what
each thread individually is really cool and would have been really fun to explore a little bit more. So I almost wish this was like a short duology with 2 books, where the first one, you know, establishes a lot of the thing, establishes all the characters and stuff, and then we're kind of like finishing it up and realizing everything in the second. Like, or just had it be a longer book where you're fleshing out all of your cool strands. Like,
see, I just disagree. I think that you're trying to write 2 completely different books, and it doesn't matter how long you drag it out for. I don't think they work together at all. I think you have a really interesting historical, you know, narrative, and I love even tying that into modern day and finding out about the history. And I think you have a steamy ghost romance, and I do not think the 2 meet at any point. Really.
I think this is also a testament to, like, I don't think Katrina Jackson has written anything like this before. And I think this is the only book of hers like this at all. Like, I don't believe we have anything else with a ghost or paranormal elements or any of that. So we tried something and it just, like, didn't really come together fully, maybe.
Also, like Steph said, the pacing was so everywhere.
It really was.
I think that's just, there's too much. I think that it's 2 discrete stories, at least. You could probably even argue that there's probably a 3rd story in there as well. And none of them, like I said, none of them are bad. I just think they've been put together in this particular way, it just doesn't make it as cohesive and as seamless as probably some other stories that we'd like to read, which the writing is good, but it just hasn't come together in that sense.
They also were like, you have a year to fix up this house. And the book only covers like less than a week. Hope he figures it out.
I don't know what the renovation market is like over there, but it takes far longer than 12 months to fix up anything. In terms,
I would think you have a year to get, like, permits going. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's what it should have been. And this is written like pre-2020, during 2020-ish, possibly. So like,
Yeah, and I
things
thought
were
it
not
was
going
like
quick.
I think he had a year to have significant progress made. I don't think it had to be done in a year.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
They think it said it needs to be done in a year, but if you show significant progress made, you can try to get an extension, is what she had said.
Okay.
I read it like 3 hours ago.
Okay.
But also the accelerated timeline and the fact that they did absolutely nothing to act like really they didn't do enough to get in contact with him for the
Also, why I was so
inheritance in
confused
the
by
first place. Like,
the lawyer was
come on.
being so rude because she was like, "Well, we don't want the city to have this house and gentrify it," and it's like, then you think like more helpful instead of just being like, "Well, I mailed you a single letter."
Well, also though, she wasn't wrong that it's not her job to keep the city
No,
from
it's not her.
gentrifying it and stuff. She's just the lawyer, and also to a certain extent, I do think it's realistic that it's like, all right, like if anybody could just do their job for me, that would be amazing. I would love if like the thing I'm trying to accomplish got done by the person who's supposed to do it when I contacted them the first time. That would be amazing.
Also, how'd Homeboy have water and electricity?
I
Yeah,
assumed a well for the water.
Also, the
But-
fact that he turned on the water and it came out clear.
And the power turned on. I was like, oh.
No one has lived
Power
in that
was
house.
surprising.
Unless his aunt had
the
been paying
30s.
for it the whole time. That's what I kind of assumed.
Yeah, but like,
'Cause
did they
that
bring
was, like-
someone in to like run the taps? Because you're gonna get like rust and stuff in there, or they're just
Yeah.
gonna like not
And
work.
he talked
And-
about updating the electricity, but nobody had lived in it in 90 years. So wouldn't that have been
That's-
kind of early for the average house to have electricity, or am I off?
I mean,
by-
it was a plantation house, so
right,
still be
but it
fairly-
was owned by
I would
her.
imagine it's still be
Light bulb
fairly
was
basic.
1800s, so we should be okay.
1935 was the flashbacks, I thought.
33.
33?
Uh,
Okay.
35 was the what I got an Esther flashback when she went
Okay,
back or something
that's
like
what
that.
it was.
Yeah, not saying that the light bulb was invented, saying having houses being run for electricity. Like his electricity is supposed to be that old, or somebody did it in the 90 years that nobody's lived there, which doesn't make a lot of sense.
No.
Like if
Also-
your wiring is that old, you got problems.
So I was going to say the undefined amount of money that has been
Those
put
houses-
aside to fix up
So in
this
the
house.
1920s is when it started becoming more regular. So they probably had.
It
It wasn't
sounds-
probably good electricity, but
he's using it.
he plugged in a fridge.
Right.
You know, I would have been I don't understand the lack of fear about like accidentally burning the house down by plugging things in this, I guess.
I think part of it is that he kind of comes off
He's just a
as
naive, dumb 20-year-old.
like not really someone who's thinking things through.
I also love that they were like, "Oh, you were a manager at a burger joint. Yeah, you can bartend here a couple nights a week." I'm like, "Those aren't the same thing. You need a in Texas it's TABC, but I'm like, you need an alcohol like course.
You have to have a different food.
Probably
handling
do not
license,
need that. And okay, listen, I say this with love in the world. You probably do not need that in Louisiana.
Oh, probably.
Fair.
And I say that with love as someone who's lived in that state. I wouldn't be surprised if there's minimal requirements to bartend in Louisiana.
That's that's fair. That were
There's
the
drive-through
they
daiquiris,
were the
okay?
last ones to raise the age of drinking.
Again, you can drive through and get a daiquiri.
You can do that in Texas now too.
I know, but they were the ones doing it the longest before that.
Because I've definitely gotten.
You sure
many
Vegas
drive-thru
didn't coin that
daiquiris
first?
in my
No,
in my college years.
drive-through daiquiris have been were a Louisiana staple. Are a Louisiana
okay.
staple.
And then they got more popular, at least in Texas, during the pandemic, but they had started popping up like around like the
I don't think that
18
exists in
range.
Pennsylvania.
No, it's not. It's not super common. I don't even think they have it in Vegas, to be honest with you.
The drive-through daiquiris. I miss drive-through
yeah.
daiquiris.
They're a
They
good
had them a
time.
lot in the college town. I don't think they have them as much here.
Yeah, I did it once, and I was like, "This feels really weird." And they're like, "Don't put the straw in the cup. You're fine." Like that's totally how this always works. Nobody puts the straw in the cup.
They seal the top, and by seal I mean they put plastic wrap over the top of the cup.
Yep.
Y'all,
very different jobs.
But crazy.
But I don't believe Louisiana probably has a very strict alcohol law because it's a wild place.
That's fair.
Yeah, for sure.
My spouse's family there. I've heard stories.
And like again, it's said with love as someone who lived there for 3 years. And I just sometimes the stories I have out of Louisiana, I'm just like, huh, that was a place I lived.
Mm-hmm.
Especially where this is set in Louisiana, because this is not you're 2.5 hours to Shreveport, you're 3 to 4 hours to New Orleans. Like this is in the dead middle of Louisiana. So
okay.
Yeah. I love that this location she picked, but it's just fascinating. I was like, oh, I didn't realize I was going somewhere I've been.
I also love that the contractors were just like, oh yeah, we can get started right away. I'm like,
okay, but that is so accurate that the receptionist lady who answers the phone is like, no, we're very busy. And he's like, why are you already here? Oh, she always tells everyone that. She tells everyone that. Okay, Mills. She tells everyone that. I was like, that feels very accurate.
It does.
Seriously, though.
I also like
right,
the
does anybody...
maid.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I have a question. Why were the maids rude? And then at the end, one of the maids was like, hey, hot stuff. Like, I'm like, what was this 180? I'm so confused.
It's because they were 2 older black women, and he was an oblivious 20-year-old. And they were like, hello.
So was the third
and then
maid...
the younger one is the one
okay.
hitting on him. So
I
there was
you.
2 older ones and the younger one. So the younger one was touring with him the entire time, but she was not in charge.
Oh, okay.
The older ones were, and they were like,
I think I didn't catch that.
Get your act together. Let us in the house. Did you hire us to clean? What are we doing here?
I do love that he answered the door twice as if it were Todd, and neither time it was Todd.
Never is.
Well, Todd was hounding him. Can't blame the man for that.
I also love that,
like the rom-com, accidental mistakes.
I did love the internal monologue of Todd when he was with Todd. Was like, hey, you want to go to this meeting? And inside he's like, no. And he's like, sure. And I'm like, I feel that. Like, would you just leave me alone internally and outside? You're just like, yeah, sounds cool, man. See you there.
Yeah. So does anyone have any favorite reads so far for the week? We still have 2 more days, obviously, but...
What have I read?
No. I don't.
I'm pulling up my list. Hold on.
I know, wait, one sec.
Mate by Allie Hazelwood was fantastic. I had a blast.
I did marathon through 3 of the Outbride books, and those were fun.
I love Outbride.
Although I will say I forgot how much fluid is in Outbride.
It's very fluid heavy, fluid forward.
It is very fluid forward, and I was like, oh, that's right. That's why I wasn't a huge fan of these. They're just so much fluid, but it was an entertaining thing. The Cleo Evans book, the not so
kind regards, right?
Yeah, Not So Kind Regards. That one was a fun one, I will say. I think I went through that one, and then Not So Best Wishes, and Not So Kind Regards was definitely more wild than Not So Best Wishes.
I read Demon Hunter by Louisa Masters, so I finished off the collective duology, and that was fun. That's just ghosts and whatnot. And the Most Unusual Haunting of Edgar Lovejoy by Rowan Parrish is excellent. And then Under the Lupine Moon by A. Knightley, which was surprisingly emotional, which was probably not a good choice for last night, but ended up happening. So,
gotcha.
Anyway, they're all good.
Does anyone have anything for disability or mental health rep? I think that's the only thing I am missing from like my random reads this week.
Okay,
that's why the Most Unusual Haunting of Edgar Lovejoy fit in.
Because I realized my readings did not pan out as planned, but I think I did cover everything except for what is this? Bloody Sweet.
Bloody Sweet. It's a manhwa series. It's 4 volumes long total. There are some triggers. Check out I'll send you my little review thing that I have of it. But it's really, really good. Great mental health rep.
That's the one Morgan was telling me to use her Tappy Tunes for.
Oh, that's the Tappy one. Okay, where is the Tappy? Where did I put her Tappy Tunes? There it is.
I might have to get those so I can read it. So we'll divvy it up.
So I really like that. It's harder hitting than a lot of things that I typically read for Love in the Night, but it was really, really good. I read Hot for Slayer and loved it. I love how obsessed he is with her. It's adorable. Yeah. I don't know that it was quite 5 stars for me, but it was close. It was like a good 4.5 solidly. And then I read Destined to the Lycan by Regine Abel. I always have a good time with Regine Abel, so obviously I had a good time there. And then Bloody Sweet was my other big one in the Tenant. And then now this one.
How many chapters are in the first volume of Bloody Sweet so that I can just read that? Because I don't think all of the chapters are.
Let me double check.
But I do know enough are for at least 1 or 2 volumes.
It's split into parts. So it does the first 5 parts.
Okay. This is not helpful, but that's okay. I'll figure it out. Do them as like episodes on the actual app.
That's
so they're like episodes within the parts. So
what are the episodes in the parts?
They don't number them is the problem.
Why would you not number them?
Because they're lame and they want you to buy this one.
Izzy's just like cracking up as I'm trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I just think this is like welcome to the group chat.
Oh yeah.
Someone asks a question and someone else is trying to figure it out, and we're all like, I don't know.
I'm also gonna have to potentially get Morgan some more Tappy points because for some reason they're all unlocked except for episode 4.
There you go.
Weird. But yeah, I enjoyed that one. So we'll see if I read anything after I finish Leopard Hunt. It'll depend on how long since I work tomorrow.
I'm hoping to get in 2 more reads, but we'll see. That's hopeful. But at least maybe 1 or most of the way through the Crownless
But again,
King.
I'm 100 pages in and it's almost 400. So I'm making good progress in it. We'll see how much further I get today.
I hope you finish White Hot too. I reread that recently.
I love JB's tradition of reading 1 Hidden Legacy book every Love in the Night, but to me that also sounds like torture.
Oh yeah, I could not.
Like spacing it out that much.
Because that's only twice a year now. So
Mm-hmm.
But I also found out the new Carpathian Christine Behan was finally up on NetGalley, so I requested that. We'll see if I get it.
Oh, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Nice. Steph, did you see Alana Andrews mention that there's going to be a Hidden Legacy anthology in the future? It was an Instagram post. It's like a snippet or something that they said would show up in a Hidden Legacy anthology. So that's exciting.
That's something to look forward to whenever it turns up.
It is.
Right.
We'll just wake up one day and it'll be there and it'll be great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they'll last longer,
Episodes
but y'all
1 through 20.
There's too much patience.
Episodes 1 through 20.
1 through 20? There you go.
Goodreads. I went and I looked on Goodreads and it says 1 through 20 at like the very end.
1 in the series a year. We cannot relate.
No.
No. I mean, listen, I think stretching them out is not a bad thing because they're so good.
I don't have the ability to do that with my brain.
But I'm just going to reread them is the real answer of life.
Mm-hmm.
I marathon up until I get kind of tired of it and then I forget it exists.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
And then
2 years later I have to
again.
restart it because I forget everything. And then it's just a vicious cycle of me never being able to finish series.
See, the thing is, once you've read them enough, you don't actually need to worry about reading them in order. You just pick up the one you go, I want to read that story.
Exactly.
And you just read.
The freedom of rereads is amazing.
I reckon I started Kate Daniels about 3 times this year. I've read all of the books at least 3 times, but I've not read a single one in series order at all this year.
I need to get through Magic Triumphs. I think I just don't want the graphic audios to end, and so I've been like pushing it off because that's the last graphic audio.
You just start them again.
Well, no, then
You've got
I'm
the
gonna
Hidden Legacy
move
audios.
to Hidden Legacy audios. Yeah, I was like, no, then I'm just gonna move to the next one, which is Hidden Legacy audios.
And then you go back to Innkeeper Chronicle graphic audios.
That's true.
Yeah, because we didn't get all the graphic audios before we were done with the lives.
That's true. That's true.
So
more to look forward to.
Steph's just plotting our joining her and constantly rereading Elena Andrews.
Yep. I just don't tell you when I do it anymore because I'm just like, you're just going to roll your eyes at me. I just put them on.
I'm not. I don't care. It's just expected.
I reread constantly, so like I had no judgment here.
No, that's when I go, nothing in my Libby audiobook library currently is appealing to me, and I don't feel like reading anything else. So let's just go pick one of these at random. Whichever one I didn't read the most recently.
We all have our comfort audios. It's fine.
Although I think the week before we did this, I did read Pack Darling, and I did enjoy that.
Nice.
I will say.
Yeah, you did. Did you read part 2 or just part 1?
I read both, and I enjoyed it enough that I bought the extended epilogue on Amazon.
I bought it,
and then I did too. Yeah, so and then I think I also bought the spin-off after it.
Yeah, I haven't read Red Fang yet, but I want to.
I had 2 days left to use an Audible credit or else it expired, so I went, screw it, I'll just buy the book.
There you go. I didn't listen to them, but I devoured those 2 books.
But the audios are very good, I will say. Like they did good on the voices. All the men did not sound exactly the same.
I love that.
Love when that happens. Alrighty. So I think that's it for this live. Either Izzy or I will be hosting sprints on Sunday between the 2 of us. There will be sprints to kind of finish things off. Anyone is welcome to join, of course.
Yep. I got my time, so yes, I will be scheduling those after this. So
okay,
I need to finish the Yakuza and his Omega. That's the one I didn't finish.
There you go. Alrighty, and thanks for joining us for this discussion about The Tenant by Katrina Jackson. If you're watching this and you still want to read it, there is a link down below to the book because it's kind of hard to find on Amazon. You got to dig a bit. So I went ahead and put a link there for everybody. So yeah, anyways, thank y'all for joining us and we will see you in the next one. Bye.